KCYK Yuma. And a good Saturday morning to you. Welcome to Cocopah Speedway's Laptime Live, presented by Cocopah Casino and by 1 Hour Air Conditioning and Heating. I'm your host, Mike Stanhope, and thank you so much for joining us today as we get set for action tonight. Round number 8 of the 2013 Cocopah Speedway Racing Series, featuring action in all 5 local divisions tonight. The Napa Auto Parts Factory Stocks, the IMCA Northern Sport Mods, the Fisher Automotive Street Stocks, the Pro Stocks, and, of course, the IMCA A Modifieds. Set to join us as part of today's special race day edition of Laptime Live is Imperial's Lance Maury, driver of the number 19 SB IMCA Modified. Lance is on top in the season standings entering competition tonight, and he'll be joining us in just a few. Hey, we've also got some news coming up regarding the showing tomorrow of the first round of the recent Cocopah Cup Challenge in the ASCS Sprint Cars. We'll get to that a little bit later on. First here, a quick recap of last week's, off-the-charts exciting action, as well as a look at the updated point standings, where, again, a number of drivers are on the move. And first, looking at the IMCA Modifieds, Casa Grande's Brian Schultz in the L8 machine took the win last Saturday night in a thrilling battle with Maury in that 19 SB machine. Kent Rosevear in the 02 had the early lead before Schultz moved to the front on lap 13. Just 2 laps later, Maury, who'd started out of the 6th row, got underneath Schultz to take the lead briefly before Schultz fired back and retook the lead just 1 lap later. From there, the 2 ran nose to tail, Schultz sticking to the high groove for the most part, but for an occasional dive to the bottom of the track as he got to the checkers first, something he talked with us about in Victory Lane.
I like dry, slick tracks and just be able to, work the bottom and slowly, methodically work my way forward. But on the restarts, I could get a good run, but I don't know. I just felt comfortable up top tonight. And when I knew that, when I got back by Maury, then that solidified my thinking, and I just stayed up there and made it work. And I mean, this car is. It's an old car. It's a 2006. I mean, this thing's been run hard and put up wet, and she just keeps bringing her A game for me, and finally the stars lined up in my direction. So, I mean, it's been a long time coming. I don't know about you guys, but that's the best race I've ever seen. This is my first main event win. I've been doing this for a long time.
Schultz, as noted, taking his first career feature win. Also, out of last week's race, the IMCA Modified points now stack up as follows, and it is Lance Maury in the 19 SB from out of Imperial back on top in the standings, retaking the lead with his second-place finish last week. Prior leader Russell Allen came in the number 4 spot. It is Allen back to 2 in the standings with Yuma's Bobby Horton in the 3 spot. Steve McCullough in the 4 spot from out of Imperial, and defending Series champion Dwayne Rogers in the DR89 from out of Imperial, rounding out your top 5. Next in the Pro Stocks, Yuma's Brett Samala in the number 1 car motored off to the feature win last week, beating back a determined run by Lakeside's Mike Lurwill in the K9 machine. Samala getting to the lead on lap number 3.
Probably, I could have picked it up a lot more. I wasn't really sure that there was somebody that close to me. My dad was giving me signals, and I didn't think he was that close, and I really never even saw the guy. The last 2 laps, I picked it up a little bit. I had a lot left, a decent amount left, but if I would have known he was that close, I would have picked it up a little bit. But at least it was a good race for the fans, I hope.
Samala there in Victory Lane, upping his lead in the Pro Stock points, where your top 5 set up as follows now. Samala, your points leader, with Lakeside, California's Mike Lurwill in the 2 spot in the K9 machine. It is Yuma's Joe Haynes. He fell back a little bit, sitting in the 3 spot, 20 points back of the lead. Brawley's Roy Daffern and Brawley's Jason Higginbottom round out your top 5 in the Pro Stocks. Next into the Fisher Automotive Street Stocks, where another wild free-for-all saw Brawley's Stephen Daffern in the number 81 emerge victorious. Chula Vista's Manny Baldavia's in the 77, and Alpine's Mike Harlan in the number 7, running at the front initially last Saturday night, with Harlan taking command on lap number 7. Daffern, though, starting out of the 3rd row, waged a back-and-forth battle with Baldavia's and Adolfo Noriega in the number 35 before finally taking 2nd and then going to work on Harlan. Daffern pulling off the pass for the lead and the win on the last lap of the race. In fact, the final turn making for one exhausted driver in Victory Lane.
It was hard. It was too much competition between the top 4, 5, 6 cars out there. You didn't know who was going to win tonight. But how it panned out, You just had to wait and see what everybody's going to do and then turn left and stand on it.
And Daffer, as noted, your points leader in the Fisher Automotive Street Stocks, it is Adolfo Noriega in the number 35 from right here in Yuma, sitting in the number 2 position with Alpine's Mike Harlan in the 3 spot. Chula Vista's Manny Baldavilla's in the number 77. He sits 4th in the point standings, and Yuma's Jimmy Davey in the 144 rounds out your top 5. Checking in on the IMCA Northern Sport Mods, Yuma's Ty Rogers in the 8-team machine continued his dominance last Saturday night, picking up his 7th straight Cocopah Speedway Racing Series win of the year. The competition behind him, though, continues to gain some ground. Rogers working his way to the lead on lap number 7, never looking back with Hopeville's Chris Toth in the 57 CT and Yuma's Timmy Reese in the number 38 chasing Rogers to the line. Your Sport Mod points now shaken out as follows, with Rogers your point leader, Brawley's Cody Dafford in the number 18 sitting 2nd in the standings, a tie with the number 84 from right here in Yuma, James Dupre. It is Timmy Reese in the number 38 from right here in Yuma, sitting 4th in the standings, and Hopeville's Chris Toth rounding out your top 5. And finally, in the Napa Auto Parts Factory stocks, it was Yuma's Miles Morris in the number 3 taking the win last week. Morris overcoming a mid-race spin to beat Yuma's Jason Beshears in the number 64 to the line. Morris will go into action tonight as the points leader in the Napa Auto Parts Factory stocks with Alpine's Wayne Rebello in the number 2 spot. It is Yuma's Jason Beshears sitting 3rd in the points, with Yuma's Rick Hibbert in the number 4 sitting 4th, and rounding out your top 5, it is Yuma's Matt Sherrar in the 007 machine. One final race note from last Saturday, Yuma's Tara Duarte took the checkers and the win in the latest running of Cocopah Speedway's Powder Puff Series. Duarte outdueling Brennan Amos and Crystal Hall to take that win. Well, that all gets us set to rock and roll tonight, round number 8 of the 2013 Cocopah Speedway Racing Series, tonight at the Diamond in the Desert. And seems so far in 2013 like it's been a case of, well, can you top this when it comes to the race action? And all I've got to say is I cannot wait to see what's going to happen tonight. Next here on Laptime Live, we talked to one of the competitors who was in the thick of the action last week and certainly expecting to be right there again tonight. Imperial's Lance Maury, driver of the number 19 SB IMCA Modified and your IMCA Modified points leader. He joins us next. It's Racing Radio, Cocopah Speedway's Laptime Live, presented by Cocopah Casino and by 1 Hour Air Conditioning and Heating.
No matter what type of air conditioning or heating help you need, schedule some help from 1 Hour Air Conditioning. Ready for the season? 1 Hour Air Conditioning and Heating can help. No AC at all? 1 Hour can help. Need help upgrading your old inefficient system? 1 Hour can help. Now's the time to schedule your annual air conditioning safety inspection for just $59. Call 1 Hour today at 783-4242. Some limitations and exclusions apply.
We're always on time, but you don't pay your dime.
Hi, I'm Les Clark, and I've got a new home on your radio dial. Tune in Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Fridays for Outlaw Talk live and local from 6 to 8 a.m. Outlaw Talk is a great forum for local, state, and national issues, ranging from immigration to gun laws and everything in between. I'd love to take your calls, too. You can call 782-4321 and share your thoughts. It's Outlaw Talk on Outlaw Country, 6 to 8 a.m. Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. I hope you'll join me.
Electrical work can be needed for a whole variety of situations. Let Specialty Electric help you with all the various types of electrical work in your home. It's good to have a team of professionals who can bring your home to life. Specialty Electric not only does residential work, but does quality commercial work as well. Serving Yuma for over 30 years, Specialty Electric will be there every step of the way to ensure you'll get the quality work you deserve. For all of your electrical needs, day or night, call Specialty Electric, 783-3086, where quality is our specialty.
It's Racing Radio here on Outlaw Country AM 1400. Laptime Live, presented by Cocopah Casino and by 1 Hour Air Conditioning and Heating. A special race day edition of Laptime Live as we get set for round number 8 of the 2013 Cocopah Speedway Racing Series. Tonight, with gates open at 5 and racing at 7. And joining us now, today's special guest, Imperial's Lance Maury, driver of the number 19 SB IMCA Modified. And Lance, thanks so much for taking time out of a busy race day to visit with us today.
No problem. Glad to be here.
Well, hey, before we get into some of the other things we're going to be talking about today, just want to get your take on last week's modified feature. That was something to watch.
Yeah, that was fun. Brian and I have raced together for quite a while. I started racing back in Imperial with street stocks and bombers and stuff like that with Ty Rogers, Stephen Daffer, and his brother Tommy. I mean, we all grew up doing that. And once, my dad and my mom and I decided we were going to go to a mod, went and got a mod, and we started running around Imperial. But when we went over to Arizona is where I really figured out if I was going to do this for real or not. And when we went over there, running in Tucson and Casa Grande, and Brian, I think at that time was just starting out, and I think he just jumped right in an A-mod. And the guy is as serious about it as I am, and he's a lot of fun to race with. He's not going to take you out, and he's not going to drive dirty. He's a real enjoyable person. You could park beside him if something bad happened, or if you got in a fender bender with him, or had an accident on the track. He's not going to come after you with a crowbar and a bad attitude. So it's a lot of fun racing with people like that, especially when all these tracks around here, Casa Grande, here at Cocopah, everybody's just trying to make it work where we can race almost every week at a different place. So racing with someone like that, it means a lot. It's good. I'm glad to see that, people are traveling. I know that there's a lot of things, that kind of keep people from traveling. Me, it's a lot of work and building stuff. A lot of other people, they're just probably trying to save the money and run, locally. But we had definitely a good race. It seems that I'm going to probably just put a post out in the front straightaway for the 12th starting spot for me for the rest of the year, but I can't get out of that 6th row. But with the way IMCA point structure is, that's the way it goes. And I didn't really have one scratch in the car. I mean, this whole year has been a lot of fun. It's really nice to see, as clean a driving as can possibly be done. That every once in a while you have a mistake, and there's I think 3 or 4 rookies out there, and I mean, they're every once in a while they may have a hard time, or maybe just accidentally lose control of the car, and everybody's really doing a good job, and I haven't had any complaints. I mean, that's why I've been saving up, trying to make sure I can go on, move forward with MRT, make sure everything's good with it. But, I always try and make it a point. My dad and I made it a point that we are going to run here this year for sure. And, like tonight, Jason Knowles running on Casa Grande. He's my house car. He was telling me, oh, you need to come over here. And I'm like, I can't leave Yuma because, they're really, really good here. And just like what Brian said, this is one heck of a place to race.
Well, it was thrilling to watch you two do battle last week. You talked about origins just a little bit there, and I'd like to make note of your stardom racing back around the year 2000, Rookie of the Year in factory stocks over at Imperial Speedway, and then Most Improved Driver and Rookie of the Year in several other divisions over succeeding years. Can you tell us a little bit about that progression, and are modifieds where you plan on sticking?
When we first started, it was actually one of my dad's old cars, and we just put it together just to get me in there, get comfortable. When I first started, I was probably more wanting to weld stuff on the car, change stuff. I was always more into kind of the engineering aspect, I guess, if you want to put it that way. And when my dad, he was running pro stocks at the time, and then I got in a factory stock, and then after about, I think, 2 or 3 years, I got my feet underneath me, and I was able to get some top fives, and not be a concrete commando, and be on the berm running around and spinning up dust in the air. But once I got my feet underneath me, we had some great racing. Bobby Horton actually was over there racing too at the time. That class had 20, 22, sometimes 25 cars a night, and it was, there hasn't been one time when I've talked with Stephen Daffer or Tommy, and it's like, man, those are some good days, because it was fun racing, especially for us being in young, it was cheap racing, so we just took all the scraps off everybody else to make the cars run. So that was fun. And mods are probably the most competitive class of car I've ever seen. Versus, what you have to, I guess, spend on them, because it always comes down to dollars and cents. And what I've noticed the most is that a lot of guys that drive late models, it's great driving a late model. 800 horses, big old tire, do what you want with the car. But I have kind of reservations, I guess, by going into that. I really would like to. It's just the amount of money that you're going to have to spend to do it. I just don't really know if that's a step that I really would take without actually having a sponsor, because right now we're pretty much self-sponsored. So, Schaefer's kicks in a little bit, Access Metal Design, they help me out on some stuff. So, I got some people around there, that help me out. But with those late models, they are serious dollars. So, but modifieds, well, we pretty much proved it, last week. And, when me and Brian battle, and I think he started second or third row, I started sixth row. It's just, who can get to the front the quickest, obviously without, turning the car inside out. But, the one race, on the 30th, when Bobby and I had a battle, it was down to where if that was a lap or 2 laps shorter, I would have got second by a fender. And it was just me using whatever line I had left to do. And but you look at it before I got to him, and before that last caution, I wouldn't have caught him. And so there's no way with a straightaway lead, but cautions play into it. Everything lies into it, and that just goes to show you, this week to next week, maybe you didn't tighten that bolt up far enough. Maybe you missed something when you scaled the car. Maybe you missed something when you prepped it. But, there's, on the 16th, I was untouchable. That car was on the rail. I could have drove the thing one hand. It was fun, And then next race, things changed a little bit, and you just got to be prepared. You got to be ready to rock and roll. And it just tells you how competitive it is. You've seen, Scott Drake and those guys come down for the Winter Nationals, and I'm friends with Drake. It's serious. You could tell he really has, a lot of talent. The guy's been around the whole United States, so you could just tell right then it's serious.
Lance Maury is our special guest today on Cocopah Speedway's Laptime Live, presented by Cocopah Casino and by 1 Hour Air Conditioning and Heating. We'll be back with more in just a moment here on Outlaw Country AM 1400.
Speedway. Fun. Local stars racing under Arizona skies. See your favorite drivers this Saturday night. Fast cars, fresh air, food, fun for the whole family. Tickets on sale now at the Cocopah Casino gift shop and local area Napa stores. Gates open at 5 p.m. Cocopah Speedway. The fastest way to family fun. US 95 and County 15 and at CocopahSpeedway.com.
The Rough Riders Motorcycle Prison Chapter is holding their 12th annual Armed Forces Day Run on May 18th. Sign-ups are from 9 to 11 at Bobby's Territorial Harley-Davidson. The cost is $15 for single riders or $20 per couple. The first 100 sign-ups get a free run shirt. Help us help those who protect our freedom. Come enjoy a great event with plenty of food and music, high hand, low hand, and lots of prizes. For more information, contact AHO 928-919-4469.
Are you tired of your CDs not keeping up with the rate of inflation? Would you entertain the possibility of earning extra income? With 9,000 baby boomers retiring each day, the need for health care should continue. Real estate in the United States continues to be an attractive investment. Yuma Investment Group Wealth Management, along with Griffin Capital, is hosting an informational seminar on the Griffin American Healthcare REIT2. It will be held at the Hampton Inn on 16th Street this Thursday, May 9th at 6 p.m.
And welcome back to Cocopah Speedway's Laptime Live. This is the official race and radio show of Cocopah Speedway. Our special race day guest today, once again, Lance Maury, driver of the number 19 SB IMCA Modified. So, Lance, let's talk about motivations. What drives you?
be honest, the first part was just building our own cars almost from the beginning. We bought one or two used cars, I think, and then at that point I built. I think that was back in 2000, 2001. I don't know. It's hard to remember yesterday some days, but you get some used cars, and at that time I probably had built maybe 3 or 4 street stocks, and so I looked at them and I decided one afternoon, I just told my dad, I said, let's just build one. And I built that one. Didn't come out too bad. I was actually way faster than the new one that I built that I had to redo about 3 times before it actually left for the first time than the car I was already in. And so it really it turned my eyes around to see, or to make me prove myself, I guess, that it's not like, when you buy a car from Arkansas or Northern California or wherever you're going to get it from, that it has magical dust that falls on it when it gets over here and you can't do what they can do, And, I think, Kent Roosevelt pretty much, he built his own car and, he's not doing too bad. And so it just goes to show you that it can be done. But to just kind of roll out for the first time and compete, like we had a lot of struggles that we went through, and we were going to Arizona with these things, racing R.C. Whitwell. A lot of, Payne was just getting out of it at the time, and I think I only raced with Payne once. And then you had, Kurt Barnett. I mean, it was Christy George's, the who's who of the Southwest, and that's actually how I built my cars, was racing against those guys. And so it really, drove me and my dad up to, if we're going to do this, we're going to stick with it and we're going to make it work no matter what. And, so far, this year's probably the best year I think we've ever had. And a lot of it, like when my dad and I talk, it's due to me maturing as a driver. I can watch people on the track and help them. My dad told me a couple of times, he said, I think you could tune up a Fisher-Price car with a 7-year-old in it running down the street sidewalk. So, and it's a lot of fun for me to do it. I definitely have a big passion with it. But it's just, I want to, this year, we're here to pretty much prove a point that I believe that we are one of the fastest teams and the fastest car builders in the Southwest. And so far, I think we pretty much have not solidified it, but I mean, we've shown that we got what it takes. And but I can tell you that, like what everybody says, it's staying on top is a whole lot harder than getting there. For me, I think, just because of my work schedule, keeping the cars fast, keeping them maintenance. We have 3 that run out of our shop. Chris Toss, Sport Mod, Travis Doves, A Mod, and Jacob Price, we've been helping him with his car. We have, a lot of people that I try and make sure that they get the full benefit. And, but in doing that though, you turn back around and you're looking at your car before you get it in the A, and you're like, did I do that? Am I ready for that? Is this good? And so you start thinking about that. And I can honestly tell you that some of the fastest nights we've had is when I just get in the car because we're just out of time. And so it proves to me that the car may not have been right, but I can drive it through it. And I think that's, I've been doing this for, it would take some time to do the math real quick, but probably 11, 12 years now.
At least that.
Yeah. So, it really, and like my dad, he started his own company in, 86, I think. And him and I started our company that we're running now probably, I think it was in 04, I believe. And so my dad's never been the one, like when he was raising me, he said, if you're going to get in it, we're going to get in it and we're going to do it. But if you're not going to do it 100%, don't even waste your time. So
you've talked about your dad quite a bit. He is obviously your inspiration.
Yeah. The big thing with him was, like when we were growing up, he never really, like there's a lot of families that, like Ty, for instance, his grandpa, was one heck of a racer. His Uncle Dwayne. We grew up watching Dwayne, you know what I mean? So now I'm racing against Dwayne. My dad, he was racing with a guy named Elmer Schatz back in Colorado. That was at I-76, and he was actually, my dad was just a farmer, and so he never really got into the racing deal like where I'm at now. But when he moved over here, he started hanging out around the racetrack more. He was somewhat familiar with it. And, you know, that was back when Havens was running. I mean, Eddie Glenn Reed, a lot of guys that back in the day, there was 25 cars in all divisions. It was some, you know, serious wall-to-wall racing like what we're going through now. And, you know, he, from there, just started racing. And then when I got into it, I was kind of more, I think, into helping him than really driving. And then after a while, you know, I'm like, well, I could drive too, you know what I mean? And so then it kind of just all like laid itself out. So it was pretty neat. And, you know, if it wasn't for my family, my parents, and my dad, I mean, it would not be even here. I mean, I may be building them, but I darn sure wouldn't be driving them. I know that.
We're running out of time, but I've got one last question for you, and that is, what are the goals from here? Big races that you want to win? What's the progression from here?
Pretty much, we're just going to try and win as many races as we can. It's cool to be sitting on top of points. When we had 2 races, we DNF'd. One of them, I think I was in 5th by the time. Yeah, I think I was in 5th. Knocked a part off the right front corner. The other one, I was out by a long shot, broke a flywheel. So I mean, with those 2 things there, I mean, we're going to try and do the championship thing, but you know, we're definitely not going to try and miss any races here locally to support the track. But we are planning on going to the Dakota Series up there where Seidler runs. We're going to try and run that, and that should be, I believe, 6 or 7 races, and we might try and hit the 10,000 win in Marshalltown, Iowa. That's in the end of September. So I mean, we're going to try and win as many races as we can. But you know, in doing that, we still got our, you know, commitments, obviously, of family, work, and car building. So it's just making sure, you know, everything gets done appropriate manner.
Well, Lance, we wish you the absolute best of luck with those plans, as well as through the rest of the 2013 season here at Cocopah Speedway, and we thank you so much for taking the time with us today.
No problem. Thank you. Glad to be a Cocopah racer here.
Well, we're glad to have you. Lance Maury, one of the stars of the 2013 Cocopah Speedway Racing Series, back in action tonight in the IMCA Modifieds at the Diamond in the Desert, Cocopah Speedway. Gates, as always, will be open this afternoon at 5 with racing opening ceremonies beginning at 7 p.m. Hey, some new stuff to talk about out at Cocopah Speedway. If you've not been out recently, you owe it to yourself, not only for the off-the-charts racing action, but to take a look at the improvements that have continued throughout 2013 at the Diamond in the Desert. And as you make plans for tonight, we remind you that the shuttle buses between Cocopah Casino and Cocopah Speedway will be running tonight, as they are for each and every race in 2013. It's easy access. You can enjoy some entertainment over at the casino. Hop on board the shuttle, come on over to the racetrack, and then after the races, it's back on board the shuttle and back over to the casino to round out your evening of entertainment. Those shuttles also a great way to beat the after-exit rush. A programming note, as we noted at the top of the show, the recent Lucas Oil ASCS Sprint Cars Cocopah Cup Challenge coming to TV. Be sure to be watching tomorrow on the NBC Sports Network. That's on Time Warner, channels 150 or 784 for HD, Dish Network channel 159, and DirecTV channel 220. Local airtimes are showing tomorrow at either 12:30 p.m. or 1:30 p.m., depending upon your providers, so be sure to double check with your provider. Be looking for the Lucas Oil Motorsports Hour, again featuring the exciting action we all saw in the recent ASCS Cocopah Cup Challenge, again airing tomorrow on the NBC Sports Network. Hey, make sure you check out Cocopah Speedway on the World Wide Web. All of the information regarding the 2013 season available with the click of a mouse button. Just go to www.cocopahspeedway.com and be sure to like us on Facebook. You've been listening to Cocopah Speedway's Laptime Live, presented by Cocopah Casino and by 1 Hour Air Conditioning and Heating. And we'll be back with more next Saturday morning, 11 a.m. here on Outlaw Country AM 1400.